Blimey, it has turned proper cold now, hasn't it? Hi, it's me again, and yeah, really feeling the cold at the moment for two reasons. One, I'm in a new drafty cottage when I used to be in a little flat that had double wall insulation and cost me nothing to heat. And two, well, you know that I've been spending a lot of time in Spain over the last 5 years because of the ex-Spanish missus. And winter was one of the times I used to go, so I haven't fully faced the British winter front on for quite a while. And look at this headline. God, it's killing me. Look at this. UK weather forecast. Map shows where heavy snow is to hit within days amid freezing -10 degrees cold snap. And the sad thing is, it's not just in north where these things normally happen, up in Scotland and the north of England. I mean, this map thing shows that down here in Essex, it's going to be freezing cold. I mean, last night, where was it here? Hang on. Look at that, -3 and -4 it said on my phone. It's mad. I woke up this morning and my central heating had already burnt, I think it was £2.40 before I'd even got up. Before I'd even got up in the morning. Madness. But the only reason I wanted to talk about this is because I was actually consuming some BBC content for the first time in a long time yesterday. On the way to work, I didn't fancy any music. It was a bit, I was a little bit hungover from a thing the night before and that. I didn't really fancy any music. So I had BBC Essex on, and they were talking about keeping warm. And they had some experts, or some local experts, phone in to give advice on how to keep your house warm this winter. And it ranged from making your own draft excluders from an old pair of tights and stuffing it with newspaper or whatever you've got and tying both ends. Fair enough, right? Putting extra rugs down, because apparently that holds the heat into the house. Again, maybe that's fair enough. One woman even phoned up and said, put some pictures around your house of tropical islands, or get a fireplace thing on your telly, which I sometimes have if I've got friends over, if I'm cooking dinner for some friends. Sometimes I put a fireplace on the telly. Yeah, well, that's all well and good. And they come up with all these brilliant ideas, right? But that's all well and good. But if there's no heat in your house, how can you keep the heat in the house? A draft excluder's fair enough. You want to be looking at that on your door. But a rug keeping heat in the house can only keep heat in the house if there was heat in the house in the first place. And having a picture of a fireplace or a tropical island on your mantelpiece isn't going to save lives who are freezing this winter. It doesn't help. Something else has got to be done. And I mean, I'm in quite a lucky position. I've got central heating. Oh, it's not cheap to run, is it? I also have a fireplace, which is surprisingly expensive to run. If I go with just the fireplace, I can burn a £5-6 bag of logs in a day. Easy. That's not that much different to putting the central heating on, is it? So I also have electric radiators. I've got one in the bedroom and one in the living room. And if I'm just like at home at night, I'll only heat the living room with that, and it's a lot cheaper. And overnight in the bedroom, if it does get a bit nippy, it will click on its own on the little thermostat thing. So that does help a bit. But then the cost of these things aren't cheap. I mean, the ones I bought them years ago, but they were like 50-60 quid. Not everybody's got 50-60 quid to do that, have they? So what can you do? There was one woman who had loads of parrots. What day was it? It was Wednesday. Wednesday the 7th. If you can go on BBC Sounds, free to use if you haven't got a telly licence, and listen to it. And there was a woman who had 24 rescue parrots, right? And she's on benefits, and she's burning all her benefits money heating that one room, and she's kipping in the cold. Now, pets are your pets, right? I get that. But why are you kipping in the cold? Why don't you just move all the pets into the living room and you live in the living room and then you've got the heat? I don't fully understand what's going on. And the other thing is as well, they were talking about just heating one room and staying in that one room, which is all well and good. That is a cheaper way to run your central heating, but only if the thermostat is in that room, right? Because say your thermostat's in the hallway and you're in the living room and all the other radiators are off, well, it's never going to click off, is it? The boiler's just going to run constantly because the thermostat that's picking up the temperature, that's telling the boiler what temperature it's at, is going to be constantly cold. So it only works if you're going to heat the one room where your thermostat's in. I mean, I'm quite lucky again on that. Look, this is my thermostat. I've got this remote controlled central heating in this property, which is pretty cool actually. And the thermostat's in here. It senses the temperature in here. So wherever I am, that knows the temperature. And if it's warm enough, then it clicks the boiler off. So I just don't know what can be done about this. More needs to be done to help people. You know, why can't the government provide these electric radios? They are quite cheap to run, much cheaper to run for one room than running your central heating. Why can't they do that? Other ideas, you know, one that I've been doing actually on my coffee table, I have the little tea light candles. It gets a bit nippy in there. A couple of tea light candles, you can buy them for what? A pack of 10, 15, 20 for £1 in loads of the cheap shops, can't you? And I have a couple of them on the coffee table, and that really does help add a little bit of heat to the house. But it's nice to look at a fire as well. But the one thing I use it for, which is great, like if I go to the kitchen, make a cup of tea, doing my dinner, whatever, I'm just sitting there and I'm cold. Oh, wave your hands above it. Oh, so nice. So nice. But something's got to be done, and it needs to. I'm no expert in it, but someone needs to come out and give some clear, proper advice to these people of what to do, because these local experts were absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Your nan's freezing in her home and scared to put the heating on, but having a picture of a tropical island's going to sort all that out. Is it? Tell you what, the other thing that's concerning as well is the power cuts. They're talking about there could be power cuts and stuff. I keep reading it in places, and I hope there's not, because your central heating won't work. Even if you've got gas central heating in a power cut, your heating ain't going to work because the pump is electric. So it's not going to work, is it? And it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. I've mitigated this because I've got a fireplace, so I keep a stack of logs that I'm not going to burn just in case there is a power cut. I'll be all right. And I'll probably go and get my mum and make her kip on the sofa for the night or something like that if it does happen. The other thing is how you're going to heat your bedroom and stuff like that. It's worrying, isn't it? I bought these little heat pad things, USB heat pads, like about that big, 35, 40 centimetres square, and they've got the lines in them for cabling. And you plug them into a USB power bank, and it works a bit like an electric blanket. I think you're supposed to sew them into your jacket, but I use it in the bed at the minute to warm the bed up instead of a hot water bottle and that, which is quite good. But it is really worrying, and I just want to see someone come out with some proper advice, or the government step in to really help people, because this is the first cold snap, and it's really going to hit home hard with some people. And let's face it, this weather's going all the way through till March, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I've done a bit. I'm helping out. There's some warm spaces in Essex. They call them warm spaces, which is all well and good, and they're open from like 10 till 2. And you know, if you're cold and anything, you can go in there and you can have a cup of tea and just sit in the warm and have a conversation with some people. All well and good, right? But between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. isn't the worst time, is it? These people are cold overnight. That's the worst bit. I'm helping out a bit with that. I've donated a bit, and I'm doing a bit of work with a few other people just to try and do what I can. But we need real help. People out there need real help, don't they? I don't know, I just fancy having a bit of a rant, not really any stories to talk about or anything. I was just listening to that BBC Essex. It just wound me up. It just wound me up because they've got people on there, I haven't got a clue what they're talking about, trying to help old people who are suffering. It just really wound me up. Let me know what you think about it all down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, because that way, hopefully, I'll see you in another video again soon. Ta-da. Unless I've frozen to death. Anyway.